27-year-old Annita Price left her apartment in Benwood, West Virginia, like she had done dozens of times before. Annita was heading to work at the Flamingo Club for her latest shift there. It was the perfect setup for Annita, as the Flamingo Club was roughly about 4 to 5 minutes by car from her residence. Annita walked to a very distinctive car that she was using, one that belonged to her boyfriend at the time. It was a striking green early 70s AMC Sportabout. It was the sort of car you could not miss on the road in the tiny town that she lived in. Unfortunately, Annita would never make it to work that evening. The next day, the vehicle that she was driving was discovered parked on the side of the road on the southbound lane of Route 2. Annita was nowhere to be seen, and an inspection of the vehicle showed no signs of foul play. Nothing seemed to be stolen either, as both her purse and wallet were found inside the car. There were also other items left inside, including some makeup that she had used for work lying on the seat. It was as if Annita simply disappeared. That said, it would be another several days, 3 days in fact, until Annita was reported missing, and only after her friends and family did all they could to locate her on their own. It should be noted that Annita was a mother of 2 children, and she was in the middle of a nasty divorce from her then husband, Leonard Price. Still, there were no suspects in Annita's disappearance, and an investigation by West Virginia police found little. But many have stated that police at the time spent very little of their time or effort on any sort of search for Annita. One person close to the case states that police spent a total of 18 hours investigating her disappearance, and that her car was never properly searched. In the intervening years, police have reopened the investigation into the cold case, and they themselves have noted that the file on Annita Price was incredibly small and had scant information. Current investigators noted that that's just how things were done back then. After the initial investigation, the 2 children were sent to live with their father, but things were not good. Whenever either of the children would talk about their mother, their father would scold and punish them. The daughter even later stated that she got into a lot of trouble for inquiring about her mother. Leonard was an angry man, and it was that anger and his infidelity that initially led to the divorce in the first place. You see, the children were not even allowed to talk about their mother. They weren't even able to keep pictures of her around in the home. It should be noted that the children were 3 and 5 at the time. Annita's daughter would state that her father seemed to hate his deceased wife and found any subject surrounding her intolerable. It wouldn't be until she turned 18 that she was free enough to begin her own search, and that's when she found her mother's sister, and the pair reconnected and began their own investigation. She states that she knows what happened to her mother, and that she has told the story since she was a small child. Quote, "She was shot in the head by an individual with a small caliber handgun in the Moundville area, and she is buried near or underneath a power pole." She went on to state, "I got in a lot of trouble for speaking my mind. I just grew up saying, 'This is what happened.'" But things get stranger, as the daughter even claims to know the person who was responsible for the murder of her mother. When asked if she knows the murderer, Annita's daughter stated, quote, "Absolutely. I know who did it. I have no doubts. From here, the case would stall for several years. But after an anonymous tip came in, the case would be blown wide open. You see, a caller suggested that Leonard Price and his brother were responsible for the murder of Annita. The caller, suspected to be related to Price, also gave a location where Annita was buried all those years ago, underneath a power pole. Cadaver dogs were sent to the location, and a scent would be detected. Still, no body was found in the area at the time, even with the help of the FBI and several digs. After this, the family would take matters into their own hands and launched another dig several years later. And while trained dogs once again detected the scent of human remains underground, the search had to be stopped as the site had been developed in the preceding years, and an overflow pipe was installed on top of new layers of sediment. Still, this could be worked around, and it was initially, until the pipe was found. You see, the pipe had been clogged for some time, and the digging managed to break the blockage loose, flooding the entire area and forcing an end to the search. But the family would not be deterred and began fundraising in order to get bigger and better equipment in order to properly dig up the site and search for Annita Price. The cost is estimated to be around $20,000 because of the equipment and personnel needed, as well as having to reroute that major drainage pipe in the process. And since the location is now privately owned, they would be required to restore the site after the dig. A GoFundMe was launched, but that was placed on hold some months in by the two surviving children. In a 2017 update to the fundraiser page, the family states that they have suspended recovery efforts due to circumstances beyond their control. But the real piece of interesting news comes from the revelation of one Bobby Elkins, a new name in the investigation, at least publicly. Posted as an update on the family GoFundMe page, it stated that after a full review of all the evidence and interview tapes, questions arose about one Bobby Elkins. It seems that statements given to police in 2015 did not match those in the official court documents. Our investigators suggest that this Bobby Elkins is the half-brother to Annita, born after Annita's mother remarried after the sudden death of her father, Angelo Musto. It seems that Bobby originally told police that he did not know Annita had moved into an apartment during the divorce. But records from investigators stated that they saw Bobby visit Annita's apartment on 3 separate occasions. But what's really strange is that Bobby would move out of the area around a week after Annita went missing. He quit his job, gave away his car, and didn't even bother to pick up his last paycheck. There are also indications that some members of the family did not want Bobby around at the time for some reason. But things get even weirder, as it's been suggested that Bobby stole items from Annita's apartment before he took off. Now, it's very strange that a missing woman's brother would leave so suddenly when his sister was still missing. And it's even stranger that he would take items from her apartment before leaving. Just why did Bobby leave? And what could he have taken from Anita's apartment? At the time of the writing of this video, that is the last update on the case, and the family is still looking to answer these questions before restarting the GoFundMe in order to dig on the site once again. As the years roll by, those involved in the case are getting older, and suspects, Anita's husband Robert Price seeming to be the main one, have died or are getting older themselves. Still, with a location, a future potential dig site, and police that are actively working on the case this time around, it may only be a matter of time before we find Annita Price and get the answers her family deserve. Thank you for watching this episode of Case Files. If you want more information on this case, there will be links in the description to several excellent videos as well as to the family's GoFundMe if and when that ever relaunches. Let us know in the comments below if you know of any other cases that you'd like us to take a look at. And until next time, stay safe out there, and we'll see you again really soon.